A substitute teacher stopped me in the hallway and crouched down to my eye level. "Sweetie, are you lost? The elementary school is across the street." I was 16. I pulled out my student ID and held it up, and she squinted at the photo and then at me, and her face went through confusion and then embarrassment. "I'm so sorry. I just assumed." She stood up and walked away fast, and I stood in the hallway holding my ID with my face burning. I was 4'3" and 55 pounds. I walked into first period and climbed into my chair, and my feet dangled 6 inches off the floor. My mom picked me up after school in the new car my dad bought last spring. Neither of my parents made enough money to explain the car or the house or the kitchen renovation that happened when I was 12, but I'd never questioned it. I got in the car, and she reached across and adjusted the booster cushion behind my back. The seatbelt cut across my throat without it. 16 years old with a booster seat. I hated this car. She pulled a pill bottle from her purse and shook one into her palm and held it out. "Open." I put it in my mouth. She leaned across the center console and checked under my tongue. "Good. How was school?" A sub thought I was an elementary schooler. "People are ignorant." She crouched down to talk to me, "Mom. Your condition makes you small. That's not your fault." "What's the condition actually called?" I tried to look it up and I couldn't find anything. Her hands tightened on the steering wheel. "It's a growth disorder. It's very rare. That's why you can't find it." My Aunt Deborah came for dinner that night. She walked through the door and crouched in front of me and put her hands on my shoulders and looked at my face. Not the polite look everyone else gave me, the measuring look, the worried one. It was the only look that made me feel like someone actually saw me. "She's not growing." She said it to my mom over the top of my head. "She should be so much bigger by now. Have you taken her to a specialist?" My mom's smile went tight. "We're managing it." "Managing what?" "She weighs less than my 9-year-old. Deborah, please, let me take her to my doctor. I'll pay for it. I just want someone else to look at her." I started to say, "I want to go." My dad walked in from the kitchen. "We appreciate the concern. We've got it handled." His voice was the kind of calm that ends conversations. I shrank back into the chair because that's what I'd been trained to do. Get small, get quiet, and let the adults handle it. Aunt Deborah looked at him, then at me. She squeezed my shoulder and I grabbed her hand. "You remind me of someone," she said quietly. My mom cut in from the kitchen. "Deborah, don't." Aunt Deborah looked at my mom with something hard in her eyes and then looked back at me and touched my cheek once and left. I was clearing the dishes when I heard my parents through their bedroom door. "How much longer do we give her the pills?" My hands froze on a plate. My mom's voice, "Just until she's 18. After that, it won't matter. She's asking questions. She Googled the condition name last week. Then we changed the name. We've changed it before. And Deborah is getting too close." She offered to take her to a doctor again. "I'll handle Deborah." I stood in the kitchen holding a plate with my heart slamming so hard I could feel it in my wrists. They'd changed the name, and my aunt was too close. Close to what? I walked to my room and closed the door, and my legs were shaking so badly I dropped onto my bed. I stared at the door frame. There were height marks penciled on the wood going back years, all of them mine, all of them barely climbing. But above the highest mark, there was another set. The handwriting was different, and the marks climbed much higher. They stopped abruptly at 4'11". I'd noticed them my whole life and never thought about whose they were. I pulled out my phone and searched skeletal growth dysplasia one more time. Nothing. I searched every variation I could think of. Nothing. The condition didn't exist. My parents made it up. That night, my mom handed me the pill and the glass of water and watched me put it in my mouth. I pressed it against the inside of my cheek with my tongue and swallowed the water and opened my mouth and lifted my tongue. She nodded. I went to the bathroom and spit the pill into my hand and took a picture of it. It was small and white with no markings. I posted the photo to 3 different medical forums and went to bed. By morning, one response stopped me cold. "This looks like trazodone for veterinary use. It's a growth suppressant given to show dogs to keep them small for competition." A growth suppressant used on show dogs to keep them small for competition. I grabbed the pill bottle off the counter and turned it over. There was no label, no prescription number, and no pharmacy name. It came from a veterinarian. I hurled it into the bathtub so hard the cap popped off and pills scattered across the porcelain. I gripped the edge of the sink and stared at my own face in the mirror. My body was never broken. It was being poisoned. I stopped taking the pills. The next morning, I palmed it against my cheek and waited until my mom left the room and spit it into the toilet. My hands shook over the bowl. The morning after that, I did it again, and the morning after that. The trick was keeping my face exactly the same when she checked. No relief, no anger, just the blank, obedient face she expected. expected. My heart hammered so loud, I was sure she could hear it. On the fourth day, I woke up and my pajama pants were an inch above my ankles. I stood against the wall where my mom marked my height. The pencil line from 2 weeks ago was below the top of my head by a full inch. I drew a new line and the pencil wobbled against the wall, and then grabbed a washcloth and scrubbed the new mark off the wall, because if my mom saw it, she'd know. My mom measured me that Friday. She pressed the book flat on my head and looked at the wall, and her face drained. "You've grown. Is that bad?" She didn't answer. She measured me again. Then she got on her hands and knees and looked at the baseboards like she was checking if the wall had shifted. I watched her crawl on the floor, refusing to believe her own daughter was growing, and I felt sick because she looked desperate, and I was the one making her desperate, and she deserved it. That night at dinner, I took a bite and tasted chalk. She'd crushed the pills into my food. I shoved the plate so hard it slid across the table and hit the salt shaker. "I'm not hungry. You need to eat." "I'm not hungry." My mom grabbed the plate before it went off the edge and her jaw tightened. After that, she stood over me at every meal. She watched every bite go in and every swallow go down. She picked through the trash after dinner, checking for food I'd spit out. I ate everything she put in front of me and let the chalk coat my tongue, and waited until she turned her back, and then ran to the bathroom and forced myself to throw up as quietly as I could. I flushed the evidence and rinsed my mouth and came back to the table. I lost 4 pounds that week from the vomiting and had to stuff tissue in my bra so my mom wouldn't notice my collarbone showing. I bought a granola bar from the vending machine at school the next morning and ate it in the bathroom, sitting on the closed toilet lid with the wrapper balanced on my knee. The first time I ate food my parents hadn't prepared, I almost cried because it didn't taste like chalk. The first bite made me nauseous. I ate through the nausea. I grew 3 more inches in a month. I woke up one night with my knees aching so badly I rolled off the bed and pressed them into the cold floor and rocked back and forth until the grinding stopped. The pain was constant, and I welcomed it because every ache was proof the pills were wearing off. People at school were starting to notice. A girl in my English class who'd sat next to me all year did a double take when I walked in. "Did you get taller?" I guess. Like a lot taller. She looked at me like she was meeting a new person. A boy named West, who'd never spoken to me in 3 years, held the door open for me in the hallway and said, "Hey," and I almost tripped because nobody had ever held a door for me before. I was becoming visible. Something happened that stopped me in the middle of the hallway. I reached for my locker on the top row, expecting to miss the way I always did. My fingers closed around the handle. I closed the locker and opened it again just to feel it. I did it 3 more times. My feet touched the floor in my desk chair for the first time in my life. I pressed them flat and my eyes burned because this was what being normal felt like, and I was 16 and feeling it for the first time. My dad started measuring me himself, not the Friday routine with my mom, but random ones throughout the day. He'd walk into my room without knocking and pull out a tape and press it against the top of my head and read the number and write it in a notebook. He measured me in the kitchen doorway. He measured me getting out of the car. He measured me 3 times in one day, and each time his face got darker. "Are you taking your pills?" "Yes." "Every morning?" "Yes." "Open your mouth." I opened my mouth. He stared at my tongue. He checked behind my lower lip. He ran his finger along my gum line looking for a hidden pill, and I stood there and let him put his hand in my mouth because the alternative was him finding out. He pulled his hand out and wiped his fingers on his pants. I walked to the bathroom and scrubbed the inside of my mouth with toothpaste until my gums burned. He called through the door, "Something's wrong. The pills aren't working." He called the doctor that night. I pressed my ear to the door. The dosage might need to increase. She's growing despite the medication. He was going to make the pills stronger. I was running out of time. Aunt Deborah collapsed at a family dinner. 1 minute she was passing the mashed potatoes, and the next she was on the floor with her eyes rolling back and my uncle screaming her name. The ambulance took her to the hospital, and the doctor said both kidneys were failing. She needed a transplant, or she had weeks. I sat in the hospital waiting room, and my uncle looked at me and said, "You're her favorite person in the world," and I leaned into his arm. She was the one person who looked at me and didn't buy the story, and now she was dying. I raised my hand before anyone else. "I'll do it. I'll donate." The doctor looked at me and then at my chart and pulled up a scan on the screen. "Your kidney is severely underdeveloped, about 60% the size it should be for your age. We can't transplant a kidney this small." I stared at the screen and my stomach dropped so hard I grabbed the armrest because it was only 60% of what it should be. My aunt was dying, and my kidney was the size of a child's because my parents made sure I stayed one. I walked out of the hospital and and my knees gave out on the sidewalk, and I sank to the curb and pressed my fists into the concrete until my knuckles scraped. I have to grow, not for me, for her, and I needed to find out why they were doing this. That week, an envelope arrived in the mail from the state with my name on it. I picked it up and my mom snatched it out of my hand. It's nothing, medical stuff. The way she grabbed it told me everything. I started searching for everything I could find. I went through my parents' mail when they were at work. I checked their browser history. I found a folder in my dad's filing cabinet labeled with my name, and inside were records from a veterinary supply company. Quarterly orders for the same pill at the same dosage, shipped to our house for 16 years. I photographed every page, barely keeping the camera steady. The orders were paid with a credit card I'd never seen, and the billing address was a P.O. box. They'd built an entire system to keep me small, and they'd hidden the paperwork behind a folder labeled taxes. I spread the records across my bedroom floor and stared at them. 16 years of orders, but nothing that told me why. The nosebleeds started the third week, and I woke up at 4 a.m. with my pillow soaked red. I stood in the bathroom holding tissue to my nose, watching blood drip into the sink, and thought, this is what it costs to be the size I was supposed to be. I fainted in English class. I was reading out loud, and the room tilted, and the last thing I heard was my own voice stopping mid-sentence. I woke up on the floor with my cheek on the cold tile and my best friend Nia screaming my name. The paramedics put me on a stretcher and carried me through the hallway, and every kid in the building watched. My parents came. My dad held my hand in the nurse's office and told the nurse I had a chronic condition we were managing at home. I wanted to rip his hand away and scream. He squeezed my shoulder in the parking lot. See? Your body can't handle this. The medication was protecting you. He pointed at the dried blood crusted around my nostrils. Is this what you want? He sounded like a father. Everything he said was true. The fainting was real. The pain was real. He'd poisoned me for 16 years and then used the withdrawal symptoms as proof that I needed the poison. I shoved my hands into my pockets and balled them into fists so tight my arms shook. Aunt Deborah on the hospital floor. My kidney on the scan too small to save her. My parents pulled me out of school the next week. Medical emergency. I tried the front door. Locked from the outside. The back door had a chain on it I'd never seen before. No school, no vending machine, and no phone. Everything I ate came from their kitchen. My dad smiled at me across the dinner table the way he used to when I was small and obedient and disappearing. I found a $20 bill in my winter coat and waited until both my parents were asleep and crept down the stairs and out the back door. I'd figured out the chain had enough slack to open the door 6 inches if I turned sideways. The corner store was 3 blocks away, and I ran the whole way in my socks because my shoes were by the front door. I hid the food in a shoebox under my bed. After midnight, I sat on my bedroom floor with the door locked and ate in the dark. The wrapper crinkled so loud in the silence, I held my breath. Not from the growth, from the fear of getting caught. I snuck out to the hospital to see Aunt Deborah. I walked the whole way because I had no phone and no money for a bus. An hour and a half. She was worse than the last time, thinner and grayer, and the tubes in her arms had multiplied. She opened her eyes and reached for my hand. You look different. I'm taller. I can see that. She squeezed my fingers. Promise me you'll keep going. I'm trying. Don't try. Do it. Whatever they're doing to you, you fight it. Her grip tightened on my hand. There was someone before you. Ask your parents about the marks on the door. Her grip was so weak I could barely feel it. I walked home in the dark, and I didn't cry until I got to my room and closed the door. Nia came to my house after school. I didn't invite her. I walked through the living room, and she was sitting on my couch talking to my parents. I told them about the fainting and the food in your locker. I'm worried about you. I grabbed the door frame and held on because Nia was sitting on my couch in my house telling my parents the one thing that could lock me back in the cage. She went to them because she cared about me, and she didn't know they were the ones I needed help from. She hugged me on the way out and whispered, "Please eat something." The door closed behind Nia, and I picked up a coffee mug off the end table and threw it at the wall. It shattered, and my parents both flinched. My dad had his phone out 30 seconds later. He called a doctor and scheduled emergency surgery, metal plates to stop the growth permanently. I tore through my dad's desk. back, every drawer yanked open, papers shoved aside. I needed to know what they were putting inside my bones. The surgery paperwork was in a manila folder. I ripped it out, and a stack of papers slid from behind it. Bank statements showing monthly deposits from the state, listed as disability payments. My name on everyone. Thousands of dollars a month for 16 years. That was the why. They'd been paid to keep me sick. Behind the bank statements, I found letters. Everyone opened and read and hidden away, in handwriting I didn't recognize. I don't know if you exist. I don't know if they had another one after me. But if you're out there and you're small and they're making you take pills, please stop. 9 years of letters. The first ones were short. Are you there? Do you look like me? The middle ones were angry. I'm 15 and I live in a group home because our parents threw me away. The later ones were desperate. I turned 20 and they still haven't come. If you're real, please call me. The number is on the back. I held the letter against my chest and my breath came in short, hard gasps. Behind the letters, I found a photograph. A girl taller than me with my mother's eyes. My parents' last name on the back. I had a sister named June who drew smiley faces on her envelopes and wrote her phone number on the back of every letter. She took the same pills I took. When they stopped working, my parents drove her to a group home and never said her name again. She was 12 when they threw her away for being too tall. I was 4 years old when they erased her. Then I heard my dad on the phone downstairs. Is the older one still there? A long pause. How tall is she now? Another pause. She's not our problem anymore. Just make sure she doesn't contact anyone. He hung up. I backed down the hallway until my shoulders hit the wall and slid to the floor. Their daughter was not their problem. I went to my mom that night. Was Aunt Deborah taking pills too? The color left her face. What? Aunt Deborah. She was getting too close. She wanted to take me to a real doctor. So you poisoned her until she was too sick to interfere. Go to your room. Her kidneys are failing, Mom. Just like my organs are undersized. You did the same thing to her that you did to me. Go to your room. She was shaking, and she didn't deny it. I sat on my bedroom floor with the photo and the letters and the bank statements spread around me. My hands shook. I could take the pill tomorrow morning. My bones would stop hurting. My heart would stop racing. My parents would smile at me again. The surgery would be canceled. I could pretend I never found the photo and never read June's letters and never connected the pills to Aunt Deborah's hospital bed. I could stay small. I could stay their daughter. I could stay in the cage. I stood up. I came downstairs with the photo in one hand and June's oldest letter in the other. My parents were at the kitchen table. My dad saw the photo and stood up so fast his chair fell backward. Where did you get that? You had another daughter. You gave her the same pills. And when they stopped working, you sent her to a group home and pretended she didn't exist. My mom put both hands flat on the table. How did you find that? It was in your desk behind the surgery paperwork, next to 9 years of letters from a sister who has been trying to find me since I was 7. My mom's face crumbled. She was sick. She wasn't sick. Neither am I. And neither was Aunt Deborah. You said you'd handle her, Dad. At dinner. I heard you. She got too close, so you handled her. And you've been collecting disability money for keeping me classified as broken. My dad walked toward me. He had the pill bottle in his hand. Take the pill. Your body is telling you it needs help. He shook a pill into his palm and held it out. His voice was gentle and patient and reasonable. I stared at the small white pill in his hand. My bones ached. My nose was crusted with blood. The pill would make it all stop, and that was the most terrifying thing about it. Where is June? Who? My sister. Where is the group home? My mom's voice cracked. Glen Laurel. It's in Whitfield. Did you ever visit her? Silence. Did you ever read her letters before you buried them in a drawer? My dad stepped closer. Take the pill first. No. Take it. No. He grabbed my wrist. His thumb pressed into the soft part of my arm, and he pried my fingers open and tried to push the pill into my palm. I yanked my arm back, and the pill bounced off the tile. He grabbed for another one. I smacked the bottle out of his hand, and pills scattered across the floor. My mom stood up and moved in front of the back door. My dad blocked the hallway to the front. Both my parents blocked the exits. I grabbed a kitchen chair with both hands and swung it into the window. Glass exploded outward into the yard, and the night air rushed in cold against my face. My dad lunged for me. I ducked under his arm and threw myself through the broken frame. The glass teeth bit into my forearms and palms, and I felt my shirt tear and my skin open, but I was through. I hit the grass and rolled and got up running. My legs carried me across the yard. I sprinted to the neighbor's house and pounded on the door with bloody hands screaming for help. The neighbor pulled me inside and I collapsed on her kitchen floor. She saw the blood on my hands and the glass in my arms, and she grabbed a phone and called 911 and then knelt beside me and pressed a dish towel against my palms while I shook. The officers arrived in 4 minutes. I told them everything: the pills, the disability payments, the letters, the sister, Aunt Deborah's kidneys. One officer looked at the pill and looked at me and said, "How tall are you?" "I don't know. I've been growing for 6 weeks and I haven't measured." He called for a detective. My parents were arrested in the kitchen. My mom went quietly. My dad held his wrists out. We were protecting her. The officer looked at the white pills scattered across the tile and said nothing. I visited Aunt Deborah in the hospital before I drove to Glen Laurel. She was thin and gray against the pillows, and tubes ran out of both arms. She opened her eyes wide. "You're taller." "I know." "How?" I told her about the pills. I told her about the vitamins Mom gave her at Sunday dinner. She closed her eyes for a long time. "I told your mother I was going to take you to my doctor, that you were too small and something was wrong." She cried and begged me not to interfere. She opened her eyes. The next Sunday, she started giving me the vitamins. She said I looked tired. Her voice was barely a whisper. She poisoned me for asking questions. I held her hand. She asked one question about me, and my mother poisoned her for it. Glen Laurel was 2 hours away. I drove with the windows down because the air on my face kept me from turning around. June's phone number was written on the back of the letter in my passenger seat. I'd called it from the police car. She picked up on the first ring. "Is this real?" "It's real. I found your letters. Every single one. I'm coming tomorrow." She didn't say anything for a long time. Then, "I'll be waiting by the front desk." It was a low brick building with a chain link fence and a parking lot full of cracks. I sat in my car for 20 minutes. Then I walked to the front desk. "I'm looking for my sister." I gave her name. My hands gripped the counter so hard the receptionist touched my wrist. She made a call. A door opened down the hallway. A woman walked out. She was tall, 5'8" or 5'9". She had my mother's eyes, and she moved the way tall people move when they've stopped apologizing for the space they take up. She looked at me. She looked at my 4'7" frame and the bandages on my arms and my hands gripping the counter. "Are you her?" "I'm your sister." I read every letter. Her face broke open. She crossed the hallway in 3 steps and pulled me into her arms. I pressed my face into her shoulder. She was so much taller than me that my feet almost left the floor. She held on. I held on. My bones ached. My heart raced. I was growing and it hurt, and I didn't care.